This is just a quick guide on mitigating on Troubadour. If you've played Chronomancer in World v World, this will be very similar. So we have 4 skills for mitigation. We have Harmonious Harp, which is a 2-second channel with 2 seconds of distortion. We have our Elite, which is a 1-second channel for 2 seconds of distortion for ourselves and for allies. We have Shield 4, which is a 1.5 second block, which if we block a attack, we can reactivate again with a small cast time window. And we have Sword 2, which is a 1-second evade. Because of how the reactivation of Shield 4 works, you do have a small time where you can't instantly recast it. So doing Shield 4 into Sword 2 and then back into Shield 4 is an effective way to pair those together. However, the issue with this is that Sword 2 is a self-interrupt. So make sure that you don't cancel it early. I'm going to press this channel and watch I can press Sword 2 early and interrupt it, which you don't want to do. So Shield 4, Sword 2, you see I only got half of that animation before I interrupted. So make sure you try and get the full length of the block before you Sword 2. For Harmonious Harp, you get the 2 seconds of distortion as soon as you click the harp. However, you then want to stay in it and not cancel it with a dodge roll or other skills, because you get the pulsing healing from it, which is quite substantial. Alright, so let's talk about what mitigation actually is. Because of how targets cap work in World v World, most things will have a 5 target cap. So if you are one of those 5 targets and you're eating that with a block, an invuln, and evade, you're reducing the amount of damage that the enemy skills are doing to our squad. So imagine I am a regular Troubadour player and the green arrow is where my commander is, and let's say the circle is the enemy. At all times, I want to be as close to the commander as possible unless I'm really chunked, where I'll walk back or dodge back into our stack to get healed back up. But whenever I am actively mitigating, I want to be in front of the commander, so I'm sure that I am one of those 5 people. So I will step in front of the commander with my harp up and distort. I can come back, I can reset, I can step up again with the distort. I can pop my elite and come up with a distort frame. I can shield 4 and Sword 2 and then Shield 4 again, but I'm doing this always when I'm in front of the commander, in between our commander and the zerg. So I'm mitigating in front to make the commander's life easier to play the game, and otherwise I am standing on top of them so that if they take damage, that they can step back into squad, get topped off, and step back in. So when you're actively mitigating, be in front of the tag, otherwise stand on top of the tag as much as possible when safe to do so. If you get chunked, dodge back and recover, same as the commander will do. The ability for the commander to jiggle back and forward between being the first 5 targets and not is how they can get themselves topped off quickly. So this is us about to approach a fight. Beforehand, there's not much I have to do to prepare here since they're doing stab 1 on luminaries. I am doing Veil though, so I have to drop that as we approach. Other than that, the first thing I'm thinking on approach is that once I see stability hit my bar, that I'm trying to cover boon it with some of my F skills, like F1, 2, and 3, not using my F4 or F5. They do fires. Getting ready to drop Veil. I drop Veil, I start to cover boom with my shadow skills. They're still kiting back, so I'm not trying to mitigate yet. My commander is also in DH blocking at the moment. Once I see my commander's box go over, then I start to step up. So about now, I'm going to start to mitigate. I step up with my F4 distort. I then use my elite to get into a distort frame, reset it. I distort again. In between, while it's calm, I step back. I then step ahead with shield 4. I Sword 2, I Shield 4 again, and now my block is over. I start to try and stand more on my commander. My comm gets pulled, so we move after, we restack, and then we continue this. In the downtime, I'm waiting for my Distort to come back up, as well as my shield skills. Because we don't have improved alacrity like Chrono, our shield skills will not come back as fast. So I can get my next Distort off now. I Distort in front of the commander again. I step back in, and you can see I still have 5 seconds on shield because we don't have that improved alacrity. I can now do my shield blocks. Commander gets pulled again, try and recover him. These blocks I could have been a bit more aggressive on, that one's a bit better. And you'll see that looking at the timer on my Distort, that it's pretty similar to my SOI, but I'm not going to SOI early because we're not trying to finish the fight right now. I'm waiting for that Distort to come back up before I reset it with SOI. So I Distort, I reset with SOI, and then I'm ready to mitigate again. I get stunned, I break out with concentration, I go and distort again. And I have my elite now. I'll be able to shield block again in a second. And now I shield block. And that's kind of how we loop.